everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. Hi! Hey everyone! How are y'all doing? It's been a minute since we've been live. No, I have not painted my wall. Yes, I bought the paint. It's in the kitchen where it doesn't belong. But my camera is like really, really crooked. Give me just 1 second. I feel like that's better. And my hair is going to look lighter. Don't freak out. I put some eraser in it because I'm coloring it. So the next time I go live, it'll probably be blonde before it's the actual color that I want it to be. I think this is right. Okay. I think we're good to go. No, it's not ready. That's why you see the scratches and the boxes. No, it's not ready at all. Okay. I'm going to probably paint it this weekend. I didn't want to just start painting in case the temperatures got super crazy. And I know some of y'all are getting some insane weather. But let me tell you how disappointed I am. Tell me why we've just gotten rain and like some cold stuff. Like my son can still go outside in shorts and no shirt to take the dogs out to go to the bathroom. And he's just fine. It's not crazy. But I've been seeing a lot of people getting in accidents. There was even some kids in Texas that died doing some sort of sledding thing, being drugged behind Jeeps, and there was like a collision. There's been some crazy stuff happening in the snow. So the good snow, I'm jealous of. The bad snow with all the ice and the accidents, that's the scary stuff that I'm glad that I don't have to deal with. Because I just don't be dealing with that kind of stuff. I even returned our rental car 2 days early because I didn't want to get stuck in the ice and not be able to drive that thing back. So I gave it back to them early when I could have just handled other things. But you know what? Better safe than sorry. Better safe than sorry. Okay. Let me know in the chat. How many of you actually watched this show already? I know a lot of you. Is that y'all's? Is that you? Nashville? Is it Nashville? No, it's not. It's Louisville. Somewhere in Tennessee has a police department that's going crazy on Twitter. They are hilarious. They're talking about how they got called into HR for the stuff they were saying because they're making stuff like funny, trying to like keep it kind of light while still warning people about like not being crazy. I think it's in Tennessee. It is. They are hilarious. I've been following along like this is what we needed. We need these police entities to prove to us that they're still very much human after they take that oath and put that badge on because we see so much robotics. So much robotics. So seeing like that, it was pretty funny. I liked listening to that. So yeah, let me know. Put a 1 in the chat if you guys actually watched this. Like this whole episode, the timing, like we already know what they're doing. And it's honestly disgusting because when it comes to like what Kohberger's sister had to say, and I'm going to show you, Nancy Grace doesn't read the full statements. They don't mention how she keeps the victims' birthdays in her planner so that she can be reminded of them. They don't mention how she acknowledges the fact that she knows that it doesn't matter what they're feeling. What the victims' families are feeling is a million times worse. They just completely glance over all of that and basically just make fun of her and talk shit about her coming out and saying how much she actually feels for the victims. If y'all think that I'm a mean girl and that I'm an asshole, like y'all are blind to reality. Like y'all have got that fangirl shit going on because something's wrong if you think that not being honest about things and making people look bad when they're out here trying to feel for you and have empathy for you, that's pathetic. That was low. And you could tell on Kristy's face that she knew what that damn article said, but she played into whatever disgrace wanted her to play into because they knew they needed the FaceTime. Because what else happened today? WSU put in their appearance of attorneys. They have 2 assistant attorney generals for Washington taking their side in the WSU tort lawsuit. And that information was filed this morning. So conveniently, they go on Nancy Grace last night. Okay. And it's also hilarious how she's sitting there talking about how people are going over the photos for clicks and for views and for ratings. Honey, baby, what do you think you're doing? You're not sitting there asking them questions like this with these faces, not trying to get them to have an emotional reaction because you don't want the ratings, because you don't want people to watch you. You're only caring even a little bit about what they have to say because it's going to get you a bigger paycheck. So let's just not pretend. Let's not pretend. I'm so tired of it. Let's go ahead and put this on. Now, their bullshit was like an hour, but I only got like the beginning of it and then just the pieces where the Goncalveses are actually in it. Once she tells them bye, it's done. And when she's talking to some female chick, this expert lady beforehand, that's not in there either. I have, how many minutes is this? 22 minutes, 24 seconds of what we're actually going to go over. I'm not going to make y'all go through all that bullshit. But also, let me ask y'all this question. Oh my God. I know that y'all were talking about earlier. Let's see how many times she mentions her ex-fiance, the one who was murdered, okay? And that's sad and all, okay? Like, no one's taking that away, alrighty? Did y'all know that shit happened before I was even born? I was born in 1988. I'm going to be 40 in a few years, okay? This Keith guy that Nancy Grace was engaged to died in 1979. What? So you bring him up at every episode. In every episode for something that happened almost 50 years ago. And the only thing that I can keep thinking of is my grandmother. And I think I mentioned this like a few months ago. The majority of my memories of my grandmother was her talking about my biological grandfather right in front of my actual grandfather, the one that married her and raised her children because her ex-husband was a piece of shit. Talk about him constantly just right in front of him for years and years and decades and decades and decades. And I just always remember thinking how disrespectful I felt that was for her to constantly be talking about him in front of what I considered was my grandpa, who my mother considers her father because of who raised her. I just always felt like that was such disrespect. And she sits here on every episode with a whole husband and twins that are almost like grown, constantly talking about a man that died almost 50 years ago. Honey, I understand your fiance was taken from you, but to continue to keep going on and on about it in every single episode for 5 decades, that's wild. That's my point. How do you suppose her husband feels? And he has to hear it every freaking day coming out of her face on national TV. Don't you think that they're not like sitting down at the house and somebody walks by in a denim shirt and she doesn't freak the frick out and start talking about it all over again? I can bet you she does it all day long. It's literally like a part of her identity, and it's just a little too much. It really is just a little bit too much. I bring up what I've gone through when it's necessary, when I need to show that I can relate to some things. But you don't damn well hear me talking about it every day. You sure damn well don't hear me talking about it like once every couple of weeks, maybe if it's even important. But in this case, it's not important. So it barely ever gets discussed. I don't understand. I had to look that up today because I was so curious before the live. 1979, bro. Before I was even birthed. And I'm almost 40. I was like, holy crap. Holy crap. A lot. Okay. Let's go ahead and start this lie of an episode. And I say that it's a lie of an episode because she's using unnecessary buzzwords. She's using buzzwords that don't matter because these videos or whatever, these photos were not leaked. They were not leaked. And even Kristy says in her portion that they were told that Olivia gets a phone call to tell them that these pictures were coming out. They were not leaked. They were informed, just like they've been informed for everything else. Now, I don't know what the frick Steve is talking about with there being issues with FOIA requests. And I don't know who complained about the family members getting information before, like, as we get information. This channel actually said the exact freaking opposite. Okay. And y'all can go to the community post. Y'all can go into the lives. Y'all can go find it. This shit's in there. This channel has said the opposite, that it's bullshit that the families don't get the information until we file a FOIA request. And what was even bigger bullshit is that the families ended up getting the same redacted bullshit that we, the public, ended up getting when they should already have all the information and it should be no redactions whatsoever. That's what this channel said several times with my words and in text in a community post. So I don't know who the hell told Steve that shit, but it must not have been this channel. And if there's some channel out there pissed off because the families are actually getting information simply because you put in the money for it, then maybe they just need to let us know who that channel is so that we can act accordingly, because that's not cute. I don't give two shits that the Goncalveses are getting stuff that we paid for. I don't care, because that means all the rest of the family's getting all the information. And to be pissy about that, you're a selfish asshole. Sure did. Several times. Several freaking times. So I don't know who the frick told him that. I don't know who the frick is saying that. But whoever's saying that, you got some nerve, bro. That is rude as shit to be saying that. The family shouldn't have to wait until after we file a FOIA. They should have gotten a big-ass binder full of all the information, or they should have been handed a USB with all of their child's information on it, completely unredacted from day one, especially at the plea. They shouldn't be having to get information as we freaking file for it, especially since, again, what we get is redacted. They shouldn't get anything that's redacted. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay. Again, it's 22 minutes. It's only the important stuff and the things that I want to I want to point out, because this is just wild to me. This this whole thing right here. Okay. Let's get started.
Hell pics, pictures straight from hell. Horrific photos from inside the brutal Idaho murders of 4 beautiful young University of Idaho students. Why were those photos leaked?
See, right there. Why are you using a buzzword that's not a reality? Why are you starting this off with they were being leaked? They weren't leaked. Again, the families were informed. Again, Kristy's going to say it. They got a phone call saying, hey, these photos are coming out. It came from the Idaho State Police detective. That's who informed them, the actual entity that was releasing the photos. If something is leaked, do you normally not get a heads up? Something being poorly done because everyone sucks at their job and things having to be removed isn't technically a leak. It's they suck at their jobs and things had to be removed. Now, because somebody had switched the files that got released and then you could call it technically a leak? Yeah, but that's putting an assumption on something that we don't have any proof of. We know the facts are the families were informed, the pictures were released, hours went by, the families found out that there was photos of the victims, and really we'll get to the specifics of that when they get to that portion of this. But if you were in that live, y'all know that I dug out my contact information for Xana's mom, Kara, and instantly told her that there was a picture of Xana in there that was not redacted. If you've been here for a while, you knew that before the plea, I talked to Kara all the time. She was sending me all the crazy stuff that people were sending her about her daughter not being really dead and all these crazy theories, all the real crazy stuff. And I had to always remind her about the specifics and the facts and to calm down and to block those crazy people, because I can say a lot of things about the Goncalveses, and I also know that they are getting all of that same insanity thrown at them all the time. The difference, though, is that instead of getting a second opinion like Kara was doing, they would run with it and run it off to JLR or run it off to Gray Hughes or run it off to Daniel with the Drunk Turkey Show and not verify anything and then cause the chaos. And I know that's how they operate, because I got into an argument today on Twitter with 2 of their weird little operatives, and damn if they don't have shit twisted and wrong about simple shit that you can verify yourself with a little bit of due diligence. So they seem to just surround themselves with a bunch of people that don't know how to do their own research and just take whatever they say and run with it. And people are going to take what Nancy Grace just said about these photos being leaked, and they're going to just go and glance right over the fact that the families were contacted. This was done per protocol, and there's a specific reason why they were removed. They're going to take leaked and they're going to run with it because Nancy Grace said so. That's why she uses those buzzwords.
On the Idaho State Police website, and then quickly scrubbed away. Hello, everybody saw it. This, after Bryan Kohberger slaughters innocent students, and tonight, the parents sue.
Watch her face.
Do you blame them?
Look at her face. Do you blame them? In her mind, she had to think, As I'm saying this, I have to make a face and I have to stop a second so that they can get the good still shot, and then I have to continue. I can see this bad acting from a mile away. It's gotten so horrible. When she puts her hands up on her face, everything, it is a joke. She is not taking any of this to heart. It is literally just a script. She's following and acting how she has to act, and once the show is over, she doesn't give a shit.
And actually broke down and cried looking at these photos. And there is no way in HELL that we're going to go along with leaked photos that just destroy the families.
So because she wants to use the incorrect word and say, oh, they were leaked, they were leaked, they were leaked, she's trying to say they were not legitimate. We're not going to give any credence to these. We're not going to go with these because they were leaked. No, Miss Ma'am, they came from a legitimate entity. You don't want to show them because it's going to make your narrative have to turn over, and you're going to have to start looking at shit for what it really is. That's why you don't want to show them. But best believe that ever since they released, she's been scouring through them with a fine-tooth comb and a magnifying glass. You can bet that. You can bet that.
I saw only one probative photo of what was leaked. The rest was just gore.
The rest was just spatter, facts, footprints. What do you mean gore? What do you mean gore? And what do you mean one photo? Because she's going to mention how it's of the knife sheath. There are several photos of the knife sheath that very much matter. Very, very much matter. So she's acting like they're not legitimate, saying that they were leaked when they're not, to make it look as if they're bullshit. And then she's going to act like there's nothing of substance there. And then at the end of this, she's going to tell the Goncalveses, please don't look at these photos. Just don't do it. Because she doesn't want people to look at the facts. This is a game of emotional manipulation and wordplay. This was written specifically for those reasons. Listen to how she says things.
One probative photo that actually meant something, that proved something, and that was the location of the knife sheath. Thank you to both of you for being with us. It means so much that at this moment, when you are under siege again, that you take time to be with us tonight. So,
oh my God, thank you so much. Thank you so much for improving my ratings, for getting me some ad revenue over on YouTube, and for giving people more of a chance to come and donate to you. Thank you so much. That's all I heard from that.
Thank you.
I've got so much to talk to you about. Of course, Bryan Kohberger's sister does a New York Times article whining about how hurt she is and the pain her family's going through.
As you complain and wah 50 years later, while you have a whole husband and some children. I don't like this woman. Y'all can say a lot of things about me, bro, but I'm not this.
Really? But before I get to her,
unbelievable.
What about these photos?
What a word.
When did you, now this is what we're learning, Kristy. We are learning that the Idaho State Police put these on their website and then quickly went ruh-roh and scrubbed the whole thing. They were leaked onto the website.
No, they weren't.
What happened when you first learned these pictures from hell had been released?
Well, actually, one of the Idaho State Police detectives called Olivia and told her that the photos were coming out, and they were a different entity as the other ones were that were underneath the order that the Laramie's and the Chapins won, being able to not show.
So she just said right there, they got a heads up. These were not leaked. You don't get a notice if something is about to be leaked. They don't call you and say, hey, we're about to leak these damn pictures, but we're going to give you a warning. That's not how that works.
Bodies or blood, and these were going to be a little different. The bodies were going to be redacted, but the crime scene was going to be pretty evident. So this entity called Olivia. By the time she got off the phone, she was calling me in a panic and telling me that they were coming out, and they were out. They were already on the website. Olivia is pretty adamant about, viewing things and wants to know what's out there. She doesn't just want to come upon something and be surprised.
See, that tells me right there that I don't really think Olivia was in a panic. I think she might have been having a panic attack because finally she was going to maybe get to see something. And yeah, I have my own issues with Olivia. But Olivia seems to be trying to get some sort of truth in her own way, okay, in her own way, because she did take the initiative to go and meet with the state on her own without her parents supporting her and being there with her to do this, and was only shown one picture. She said this herself. They were shown, she by her freaking self was shown one photo, and the way that she described it was that it was of Maddie and it was redacted. I'm going to assume it could have been the knife sheath photo. Now that we've seen all the photos, that might have been the one that they showed her. But if she really is trying to dig into all these things, I don't know if she was in a panic because they were out there, or if she was in a panic attack because holy shit, we finally get to see something. Because it doesn't look like she'd gotten to up at this point. So I don't know if she, again, was really panicking, or if Kristy's just doing what she does, exaggerating the truth.
So somewhere along the line, it was very apparent that there were 3 pictures that showed the victims that did not get redacted.
Now, I don't know of 3. I know of one for sure that shows Xana's arm. There's 2 stab wounds by her elbow, and then it shows her side of her face. And then there's one of her, like, in the body bag where some of her hair is out. And then there's another one of where some of her hair is on a pillow. I know that we also saw, like, Ethan's hair on the floor by the bed. Some people think that it looks like it might be connected to a chunk of skin. It was very possible. There was a lot of blood right there, though, so it was hard to really see that, at least when we were going through the live, and I didn't even think about going back and really looking and, like, zooming in on it and really trying to figure out if there was or not until, like, just now talking about it. But I don't know of any other pictures. And again, the only main one, someone said they could see Ethan's leg. I haven't seen anything that looked like more than a blanket. I could be wrong. And if there are some other ones on there that are pretty bad, I would like to know so that I can pay attention to that and mark it the same way that we marked Xana's photo. But as far as I know, going through them the way that we did, it's just the one of Xana, which was horrible enough. It was horrible enough. You could tell that whoever did the redacting just wasn't paying attention. Because if they would have, you could tell. You can tell instantly. Once you saw it, you could tell. And it's not like me when I'm just, like, scanning through them, trying to see what's going on. This was somebody whose job is to redact and, like, go over these pictures in fine detail to make sure that they're doing it correctly. So when I missed it, yeah, not a big deal. We're going to end up going through them. And I thank the person who showed it to me, because thank you for telling me. I didn't even know. But for the redactor to just miss an entire body right there, that's inexcusable. Now, I do question this being a screw up and the last document drop also being a screw up, because no other documents have been posted. And that's been since the 1st, right? Like the very beginning of the year. And it's been weeks. It's been weeks. They haven't put any redacted versions up, nothing. And it's been almost a week now, I guess, since the photos came out. 6 days since we did the live going over all of them. And they haven't reposted it. And all they had to do was remove the one photo of Xana and then repost the file. What's the problem? What's the issue? So that's why I'm wondering if maybe this lawsuit is maybe halting the courts from putting more things out. Maybe there's something going on in the back end that we don't know about, or that I don't know about. But that's the only thing that I can really think of for that, because there's no reason for that order to have been out there for so long and then messed up and not have the information out yet. I feel like they're withholding it on purpose.
And it came down. It came down because there were 3, but whoever had downloaded those in that time frame before, I don't know how long it was up, have those pictures of actual victims.
Hours. Right as I posted in the community tab, I've been made aware that there's a photo of Xana. I had just finished messaging Kara. And I think that we were live for a little while before people were saying in the chat that the link had gotten taken down. So it was a few hours. It was a few hours. Let me see what I missed over here. Hold on a minute, guys. Oh, welcome, Rachel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And thank you for the gifted memberships. Thank you so much. Thank you for the 5, Jamie. This is just having to listen to this. I know this is the only way that most of you guys can even, like, listen to her. And I get it. I didn't want to. People were telling me in the comments, and I'm like, why do y'all got to do this to me? Don't you love me? Why are we doing this? But you know what? I have no problem debunking her and her lies constantly, especially when she's sitting there, and you can see the acting, you can see how fake it is, and you can see them play right into it. I told you guys how good of an actor Steve really thought he was like a long time ago, because he would go on Ashley Banfield's show on News Nation and be real super professional and answer all of her questions, right? Then within 30 minutes, he's over on her YouTube channel, and now he's like got his shirt unbuttoned and trying to act like he's relaxed a little bit, but he's answering the exact same questions that she literally verbatim just asked him on News Nation. But he's making faces and making noises like he's answering the questions for the first time. It's all D-list, E-list, F-list. It's all bullshit. Horrible acting. Horrible freaking acting. Thank you for the gifted membership, KR. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, now let's go ahead and listen to some more boo-boo.
So it's very sad.
Yeah, this whole thing has turned into a profit-making like enterprise. The day before, they told us that because somebody complained that did FOIA requests that the families were getting the photos at the same time, we no longer get the photos. We don't get any of the discovery from these images or anything that's been a FOIA request. They get it first.
So when did this happen? This came out yesterday, the 26th. So he's saying that on the 25th, because I'm assuming that this was like done the same day. He's saying that on the 25th, they were told that somebody complained when it comes to FOIA requests about how the family got stuff. So now they're still getting the stuff, but now they're getting it after the other person gets it, but they're still getting it. I'm confused about what he's complaining about, for one, because it sounds like he's still going to be getting stuff. They did get notified that these photos were coming out. So there's that confusion. And again, that never came from here. I don't know who that came from, but I would love to know if there's somebody actively out there pissy because the family gets stuff that gets done in FOIA requests. That's pathetic, if even true. And I don't really believe anything this man says, because he sounds like he's trying to complain about something that's not real. Because doesn't he say they're still getting stuff? It's not like stopping, right? They're still going to continue to get information.
Yeah, this whole thing has turned into a profit-making like enterprise. The day before, they told us that because somebody complained that did FOIA requests that the families were getting the photos at the same time, we no longer get the photos. We don't get any of the discovery from these images or anything that's been a FOIA request. They get it first, and then
okay,
we can get it after them.
So he went to go say we never get it. Now he's saying the requester is going to get it first, and then we're going to get it. So you're still getting it. So what are you mad about? You're still getting the information. What are you complaining about that you don't get it first anymore? Okay, well, for you to say that this is a money-making operation and then you get mad that you don't get the information first, is that because you're selling it, Steve? Could that be what it is? Because I don't see what you're mad about if you're still getting the information. Unless you're like losing out on money because all of a sudden you're not getting it first. Because that's kind of what it sounds like. It's kind of what it sounds like.
Did you see a photo with the students? I'm trying to choose my words.
No, you're trying to pick buzzwords that you can use because you're trying to incite an emotional response. Watch how she ends up asking this question.
Carefully. But I don't have another way to say it. Did you see photos, crime scene photos, horrific, bloody crime scene photos with the victims' bodies in the photos? Did you see that?
And look at her face. Look at her face. Why did you have to say it that way? Why didn't you just say, did you actually see the photos that had the victims' bodies in it? Why did you have to describe it that way? Because you want her to have this vision in her mind and produce tears and have an emotional response because it's good for ratings. That's why.
Unfortunately, yes.
And she just gives her a stoic response. And look at this.
I don't understand why they can't ever do the right thing, Steve. They did not take this case to trial. They did not find out the truth. This was a death penalty case. If we're going to have the death penalty, this is it. They took a weak plea.
So bad.
We never learned the whole truth. They wouldn't do the right thing. And now this, they are.
Holy shit. I just agreed with Nancy Disgrace. They never told the whole truth. Why can't they get anything right? How about you ask Kristy while she's telling us to stop reading documents? Why don't you ask Kristy while she's telling everybody out here trying to find those truths that the state won't tell to stop reading court documents? Bet you won't. Bet you won't.
Are buckling under to a FOIA request, but they don't even
buckling under for what? They're still getting all of the information. I don't even understand what this whole argument was about.
have the courtesy to give it to you first. Do they pick and choose when to follow the law?
Well,
okay, for one, who gets who first in a FOIA request has nothing to do with a law. If there's a law written that the family members or the victim's family members get the information first and then the requester gets it and then they're switching that up, okay. But is there a law for that? I don't know if there's a law for that. I just don't understand what his point is with that. And I'm really trying to figure out where the frick that came from. Because again, it just became really obvious to me that these idiots that he has kissing his ass have everything that they tell this man wrong. So how much do you want to bet some dumb shit listen to me ranting about the FOIAs being redacted and the families getting redacted information and went and told them that it's me that said that dumb shit because they're too stupid to actually like pay attention to the words being said, which is the family should already have all of this. None of it should be redacted. I think I even said that it was good to find out that the families got the information. I'm pretty sure that's in the community post because I know damn well that I was like surprised to even know that. I thought they had everything. So when I was told that, I was like, what do you mean y'all get the stuff that we send, like that we FOIA? Don't y'all have it? No, they don't. And that's why I was like, well, you know, that's one good thing that we can look at with this. We spend $1,500 on camera footage and the entire family, all of the families get it. But then you look at the Goncalveses and you're thinking, you sneaky little shits, because y'all have been claiming for years now that you have this footage. And now we have the footage and there's no sound. And y'all have been playing everyone this whole time saying that it physically shows the girls walking into the house. I showed that message in my community post last night. This man has done nothing but lie about the evidence that they have, what anything means. And people can sit here and say, oh my God, he was manipulated by the state. No, he was manipulated by his own self because the state didn't give him that information. He said Jack Ducour got him the damn 1112 camera. That shit didn't come from the prosecution. Can't blame the prosecution for that. That's him. Then he comes out and says the state never talks to them anymore. They don't get any information. He said that back in 2023, telling that to Brett Norton. Right after the grand jury, he was telling her, they don't tell us anything anymore. So no, he cannot be manipulated by the state when the state wasn't speaking to him. And that's what all these people that flock over these liars always say. Oh, he was getting manipulated. He wasn't getting spoken to. You can't be manipulated if no one is talking to you. Like, it's amazing. It's so amazing how people just like lose all common sense when it comes to this family. It's so wild.
Yeah.
Just to the other family that ever goes through a case like this, just know they're going to lie to you. They're going to tell you in your weakest moment that if you just want to make it go away, just go along with the plea, just go along and all the stuff will go away. And I had legal counsel and they were like, that's not going to go away, Steve.
So now he's saying that they were pressured into agreeing to the plea? Because that wasn't what he said before. All he said was that they were adamantly against it and they were all told that it was a possibility. And then like about the death penalty stuff, I think being taken off or the possibility of a plea, they were all talked to like a few days before this ended up being finalized. He never once made it sound as if, oh, if you want this to just go away, you got to be quiet. So is that what really is happening? Is he like sort of subliminally telling us that they're being paid to shut up? Is them winning a lawsuit with WSU their payoff for shutting up? Is that how this is supposed to be going? I don't trust a damn thing these two touch.
They're just lying to these families, trying to divide them so that they can get at least somebody to agree with what they're doing. And then that's all they need. Even though there's 4 victims and you can get a death penalty for 1.
The way his eyes go everywhere when he talks about this kind of stuff, it bothers me.
They wanted to break us apart to help their narrative. And we're still dealing with it. You know, we're still dealing with it right now.
Well,
y'all were broken apart like a few weeks after this whole thing started over 3 years ago because of what you were doing. compared to what everybody else was trying to do. And you were out here causing all kinds of chaos that literally led nowhere. For what? What was all of that for? What was all of that mouth running about? Just for the facts to finally start coming out and you tell us not to look. What was all that I'm an alpha, don't make me do it bullshit? And now that the facts come out, you tell us to look the other way. I don't trust you.
I got to tell you something, Mr. and Mrs. Goncalves. After my fiance was murdered, of course, I was a witness at the trial.
50 years ago.
And I remember coming down off the witness stand. I had never been in a courtroom. I didn't know anything about the justice system until I saw that. His blood. Kristy?
So,
I'm seeing.
She's talking about seeing his shirt in court. Again, 50 years ago. I don't want to have nightmares. I don't want to sleepwalk. 50 years ago. She didn't even like see it happen. I understand being heartbroken, but to hold on to that shit for 50 years to the point where if you start thinking about it, you're going to start having night terrors. Miss ma'am, you are highly too unstable to be in front of a camera. And that's coming from me. You need help.
It's crystallized in my mind after all these years. So I don't know how you can even close your eyes and go to sleep at night after you've seen the crime scene photos that were leaked and then scrubbed on the police site.
The freaking buzzwords, bro. The buzzwords.
What did that do to you, Kristy?
So,
and see how she sits there. She holds on to this facial expression. She wants an emotional reaction out of Kristy. She wants her to cry. She wants her to get red-faced. She wants what's good for ratings. I'm telling you now, this is the fakest shit you'll ever see on TV. Is Banfeld, Inton, Weber, Disgrace, any of them that are doing this under some sort of corporate umbrella? And yes, she's definitely under a corporate umbrella. I don't give a shit if it's her name or not. She doesn't own it anymore. Let's be so serious. This is all an act. A huge, huge medication-fueled act.
So, I chose to look very quickly. Unfortunately, sometimes it just gets me. Other times I know, but I was like, I gotta, and it wasn't, I did not look at a lot. I did not look, for long.
Okay. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I think you did what any freaking parent that can emotionally do. And I think you looked at the damn photos, Kristy, and I don't think there's anything freaking wrong with that. And if you have to sit here and try to make it sound as if your daughter's having a fake panic, whenever it's a panic of, holy shit, we're going to get some truth. And you have to downplay how you looked at your own daughter's murder scene photos to soothe the freaking host of the show. Why are you on their show? Why are you talking to her if you can't even be honest? She's looking around and putting her hands all over her face. She looked at those photos, and there's nothing wrong with that. I expect you to look at the photos. I know I would. And it just feels like she's downplaying the truth in order to satisfy Nancy Grace. And I could be wrong because I know I have a bias when it comes to these people. Can't help it. But that's how it feels.
Pretty much was out of there like quickly, but
I don't believe you, and that's fine.
It's hard to unsee, and I knew that. I knew it would happen.
What about it, Steve?
I haven't seen very many. On the ones that I've seen are just ones that my family wanted me to comment on if it was as bad as basically showing that seeing the victims in.
And that's what makes me so upset. Is that Steve put on this persona that he was big and bad macho alpha man, but now the truth is coming out, the evidence is coming out, the forensics is coming out, the photos are coming out, and not only are they telling us not to look, but now he won't even look. He has been the one out here on national television, on Chris McDonough, on all these channels on YouTube, on all these different freaking places with JLR and everyone else. Truth, transparency, honestly, tell everything. Get rid of the gag order. Homeboy won't even look at the evidence. Homeboy will not even look and do the things that he's been preaching everything about for the past 3 years. Why? Why? That was the last thing that I expected, was for Steve to not give a shit and turn away from the evidence. As loud as he was all up until the freaking plea, how dare you suddenly just turn into some sort of hermit crab and cower away after all that big talk and then be mad at us for still being out here with some sort of curiosity for the truth that you should still have 10 times as much as us. Instead, you want us to stop looking. You don't want to look. After all of this, this shit makes no sense. This is like the opposite, the legit opposite of everything I thought would happen once the proof started coming out. They screamed about that gag order for so long, for years. For what? For freaking what?
Body bags, things that are, they're not entertainment. I mean, they're for investigations. They're
No
and
shit.
if you're not going to have a trial, you really don't have the same investigation at that point. It's not a need to know. It's not the community, and you're not having a jury. So it's kind of frustrating that
we're not having a jury, but didn't y'all literally just file a lawsuit asking for a jury of 12? So yeah, technically, Steve, you are gonna still get a jury. That's why you don't want us looking at it, because your lawsuit's full of lies. Lies that can be proven without the documents. Lies that can be proven from just the free TV on YouTube with the hearings on it with Bill Thompson opening his mouth. 3 clips out of how many hours of courtroom sessions can debunk their entire lawsuit. And I have them all together in an intro on several videos. These assistant attorney generals better get their shit together. Because if they don't bring those clips into court, or have Bill Thompson get on the stand and admit all over again that there was no stalking, that there was no social media, that there was no connections, that they can't directly connect Bryan Kohberger to 1122 Oryx residents, that they can't put him in the area, that there's so many people in the area, that the towers cover such a vast amount of area, they don't know where he was. Are y'all going to have that happen? Are y'all going to come get Bill Thompson out of retirement, wherever he's at, if that's even what's going on, which it should have been? Did he retire already? I don't know. Are y'all going to go get Santa and put him on the stand and make him admit all the things in this lawsuit are freaking bullshit? Because you can't say that they're responsible for him stalking them if he's not guilty of stalking them. That's like simple. This lawsuit makes no sense to me. Like, I don't even know what reality we're in anymore, honestly.
still doing.
And you know, we get a lot of heat over this because people say, you guys are no different.
Show not.
It is very common for crime scene photos to come out. I get that. I understand that. I feel bad for those families that their loved ones are out there and this has happened. But I just feel like times are changing, and what people do with those photos nowadays is what the real problem is. You know,
I'm gonna let her finish this sentence.
Blow them up on social media and analyze them and talk about them. You know, it's not true crime anymore. It's troll crime.
So they want to pretend like this shit didn't happen before the internet. They want to pretend like people didn't go up to the courthouse and get printed out photos of this shit and pass it around all over the place. They want to pretend like people didn't ship people photos of crime scenes in the mail. They want to pretend like people didn't get around with a newspaper or watch TV and see all of this stuff. The internet hasn't done really anything but give us more access to truth. That same truth that you said you wanted out there. So that's weird.
You know, and that's where things are changing. And it has been for quite a while.
They're making a profit off your dead loved ones. And that was
They're
going
relishing
on.
in it.
Yeah. And that was to a lesser extent before. But like your organization isn't showing them, you're not going to get that same kind of professionalism in some of these smaller true crime people.
Yeah. No.
Some of them do, though.
Oh, so who are you protecting there? That little public defender who doesn't know shit about anything? Boobs McGee, who's like literally cutting off the oxygen to her brain? Is that who y'all are talking about? Or maybe you talk about JLR, the one who said that your daughter was a sugar baby, and then y'all took selfies with your arms around each other because that's the kind of people you actually like to have in your circle. Yeah, we know a lot about you, Steve. We know a lot about you and the people that you keep in your circle, and the fact that you work with gray hues and people who don't really give a shit about honesty and truth. They're the real beggars, just like you. You're only out here because you want to gain sympathy. The numbers I showed in my community tab prove enough. Out of 116,000 people that watched that video where I went off about the Goncalves' blatant bullshit, 303 dislikes. From a group of people that have 165,000 followers just on their Facebook page. Don't you think those numbers scream everything? Maybe the Goncalves need to learn to read a room. They're literally only pissed because we're calling them out on their own bullshit. We're wanting you to be accountable for the things that you came out here and said. Because not only did you come out and spew lies about your own daughter's timeline and about Bryan Kohberger, but some of the shit that y'all came out here lying about also affected Xana and Ethan's timeline and their story and stuff about Hunter, stuff about the entire everything, on top of knowing damn well that Dylan and Bethany heard and saw everything. And Steve said himself that the grand jury members that they spoke to told him Dylan should have been charged, that she looked suspect. He knew all about the text messages. He knew all about everything. Hell, he knew all about everything from Jack Ducour before the grand jury. And you know what else is interesting? So you know how they blocked me, right? Well, they really aren't that smart, and they might change it now that I'm going to say this. If you look at their page through like a private window and you're not logged in, you can see everything. You can see everything. So all I'm seeing is them posting something about a video that they're now promoting about the victims. No, Dylan and Bethany and their like exoneration, which I had no idea. I had no idea that they had posted that shit until after I posted the messages about him saying the stuff about the grand jury stuff. I didn't even know I could see anything until someone said, "Oh, did they actually block you?" Yeah, I just checked. Yeah, well, now I can see everything. So unless they make their page completely private and they have to go in and like approve everybody and the mama who wants to join on that page, I'm just going to look at it through a private window and still be able to see everything. Like they're blatant lies. You know, they're sitting there trying to say that they're talking to Dylan and Bethany. I have the snapshot. I took a screenshot of the comment where I'm sure it's Kristy is commenting back to someone who's asking them if they were talking to Dylan and Bethany. When were you ever talking to Dylan and Bethany? You guys, we literally reviewed the interview where Olivia talked to Brian Inton after she met with the state on October the 1st. And what the frick did she say? That they all messaged Dylan and Bethany the day that the freaking crime happened, and they never heard from them. They left them on red, and to that day, they hadn't spoken to Dylan or Bethany. Steve Goncalves has even come out and admitted they haven't spoken to them. So now they're sitting there in the comments and telling people they are talking to them. No, you're not. You've never spoken to them. They won't talk to you. They won't talk to you. So they're lying. Because I know that Dylan and Bethany are not going to come out and say anything because they don't deal with the Goncalves. These people have no, boundary. They have no boundary of what they will lie to people about and what they will manipulate in order to get their way with something. And the only reason why they're even out here now, promoting these channels who literally only have content that's being given to them by the Goncalves is because they're trying to drown out us out here calling them out for the lies on the lawsuit. Because there's over $400 million at stake. I guess you would lie for 400 milli, wouldn't you? You are. It's so insane. No shame. Exactly. None. No shame.
I remember years ago on it was my very first book. It was called Objection, and I wrote a chapter on called Blood Money, and I was so stunned that people got a hold of Nicole Brown's autopsy photos and were selling them. After I wrote that chapter, Blood Money, I had this cheap little, it was like a $200 laptop. It's like this big that I wrote the book on. When I finished that chapter, I had to look up so many ghoulish examples of what we're talking about right now. I swear I thought the computer had to be hanked, and I destroyed it because
So she's having to look up stuff that she normally wouldn't look up because of a book that she's writing. And she's like, oh my God, my internet history is going to get me all kinds of caught up. I'm going to have to get rid of this computer. And that's okay. But Bryan Kohberger gets assignments about serial killers and about crimes and is told to buy $100 worth of books off of Amazon, literally by his professor. And he's looking up certain things because he's told to. And that's him getting ready for a murder and indulging in some sort of sick thrill. So it's only research if it's Nancy Grace. And it's some sort of crazy FETISH situation if it's Kohberger? See the hypocrisy there? Wild.
I had to write about people buying crime scene photos and scraps from a crime scene that were bloody and autopsy photos. It's just ghoulish.
That's not happening here. That's not happening here. Why are we talking about selling photos and having pieces from a crime scene that's getting sold? That is not relevant to this case, Nancy. None of those things are happening. So why are we talking about that? That's weird.
After you saw that, to both of you, how did that affect you?
See, she wants
Because I still think back on that moment and I just saw a bloody shirt.
Look at that face. Look at that face. Look how long she's kept it there. Oh, could never be me, bro. Could never. Oh, God.
You know, I'm not sure if I've really been able to wrap my mind around it, honestly. I showed, I don't believe you've actually looked at them on your own. I showed Steve one, and it was one of the less graphic ones. And he was like, yeah. So unfortunately, I went there. And I deeply regret it. I knew I would.
I've got to tell you something I learned, the hard way.
I don't think she does. I really don't think she does. I mean, I know that it's probably horrible to view it as the parent. Like, I get that. But at the end of the day, I don't really think she regrets it. I don't think at the end of the day, she's going to regret it. It might suck right now and it might haunt her for a little while, but at least now you've got some of the truth. Shouldn't that matter? You were curious. You had a question about something that happened to your child. You did what a mother should do, and you took that step. I don't see how you could regret that. I don't see how you could.
I'm very curious by nature, but when it comes to my fiance's murder, I've learned to
How many times is that, bro?
control my curiosity.
Liar.
Because I don't want any more nightmares or any more night terrors or sleepwalking or crying jags than I've already had.
And look at her. She's getting emotional right now. You're sitting there trying to tell me that you're fully in love with the man that you're married to, but you're acting like this about something that happened 50 years ago. You're lying about one or the other here, Miss Ma'am. You probably need to figure that out.
So I just, please know, you are in our thoughts and our prayers throughout this whole ordeal. And to put it up and then scrub it shows a certain degree of knowledge that you did the wrong thing.
Yeah, because they were contacted and they were told, hey, you missed something. So they did the right thing technically for what the rules are, and they removed it. Why it's taking so long to come back up, I don't know. They should have only, again, removed the one. And it can't actually be that hard. They're using little black boxes. All they have to do is go back in and put a black box, put a little black box. 30 seconds, bro. Like 30 seconds. So I don't know why they're not back up. But, I mean, the families were not okay with what happened there. So they can't sit here and be like mad about the fact that they're now removed and lie about them being leaked and then scrubbed, because that's not the case, as the families wanted them gone. You see what I mean? Like, this whole thing feels very contradictorily hypocritical. The whole thing.
I want to talk to you now about another Kohberger related incident. Listen.
Kohberger's sister, her name, she goes by Mel, spoke to the New York Times. This piece was published on Wednesday.
This woman, I've never seen her before. She's nasty. Just listen to how she talks.
January 7th. The headline, her brother murdered 4 students. Now she's ready to talk. Well, I'm so happy that she now feels ready to tell her story. The readout in the online version says that Mel is going to talk about the Kohberger families, their pain, their confusion. You know, this.
And how they feel bad for the families, because no matter what they're feeling, it's nothing compared to what the families are feeling. They glance right over that part. They glance right over it here. They talk shit about her. They make it seem like she has no right to say anything, which is bullshit. Because even if you are a guilter, what the frick does Kohberger's family have to do with anything that you think he might have done? Why is it not okay for his sister to come out and speak about how she feels about something? She's not the one that you are saying, like, if you think that Bryan did this, she's not Bryan. So why are you being a piece of shit to her when she's just coming out and talking and having empathy for the victims while also sitting here and saying that she had no idea? And even sitting here saying, I do the right thing. Well, we've seen that. Isn't that something that we discussed? And Nancy is going to make fun of this situation to the person. The whole situation is insane. We've seen them call the cops on Bryan. When he stole the phone and went to go sell it, they called the freaking cops. They've put him in rehab. They have done things that they have had to do because they felt that it was necessary to do it. So when she says, if I would have thought I would have been the one who turned him in, I believe it, because their history has already shown that. You know what the Goncalves' history shows us? That when Olivia and her husband got into a DV situation, Kristy told Olivia not to call the cops. That's in the police report. Two completely different people. The only person that I believe wouldn't have done the right thing are on the screen right now, like the Goncalves. The Kohbergers already proved they'll call the cops on Kohberger. They will call the cops on their son. They were going to do it at such a young age, and it was going to screw up his freaking history for the rest of forever with something so stupid on his record, and they did it anyway. Because that was the right thing to do. So who are you to sit here and say they wouldn't have done it again? They've already proven that they can.
This thing happened the blink of an eye ago. And when this piece is such a piece of journalistic malpractice. The interviewer, the guy's name is Mike Baker. He either does not know nor does he care to read in to the details of this case. But instead, we've got
See, and that's crap. I actually felt like he was pretty unbiased. He didn't really put a lot of his own opinions in there. He wasn't completely as detailed on some things as I would have liked him to have been, but it was a really, really unbiased and balanced article to me. And I don't really say that often, like about a lot of anybody, but I feel like it was a pretty balanced article. And again, the fact that they're sitting here and they're not saying the truth about what was said in there, about how she actually feels so horrible for them, and nothing that the Kohbergers feel could ever even get close to what the victims' families feel. She says all of this in this article, and they just glance right over it. It tells you everything about who these people are.
Crap like this in the New York Times. Feel sorry for me. My brother is a homicidal maniac who snuffed out 4 young lives and seemed to enjoy doing it. And it looks like my mom was an accessory after the fact. Just my opinion. But hey, we just want to re-enter polite society.
What? This chick is trying to say that because Kohberger was on the phone with his parents so much, which was behavior. Like, that's who he was before the time of the crimes and after the times of the crimes. His frequency in speaking to his parents did not change, but she's literally sitting here saying his mom is some sort of accessory simply because they had phone calls with each other the same day. And she's just like, oh, she must have told him to hide the knife. She must have told him this and she must have told him that. Girl, you are crackadoodle is how I'm going to put it. Crackadoodle, bro. That bleach has gone to your freaking brain. Oh my God. Wild.
Please, won't you help us in the New York Times? So sure, why not?
That is our friend,
I'm sure she
Maureen
is your
Callahan,
friend.
from her
I can see
podcast,
that.
The Nerve. And boy, she hit the nail on the head. Really? Mel is whining.
Bro, can the girl not have a name? Can the girl not have a name? Mel. Okay, Nancy. Damn. I'm going to start just like trashing out to Nancy Grace episodes the same way that I do Gypsy Rose Saga, because this is like peak stupidity. I swear.
To the New York Times, and they're printing their puff piece
Oh my God.
about
It's
her
not a
pain,
puff
her pain, and her family's pain. Okay, that's the time to keep your pie hole shut. Right there.
piece. Really? That's the time to not say how much you feel for the families? to not acknowledge their pain. That's the time. See how they're lying about everything that's in that freaking article? She is such a piece of trash.
I would like your response to Kohberger's family whining about their pain.
Look at her stupid face. I can't stand her.
You know, I think
I hate her so much.
it's just odd that
Look.
they would, that's their first time they've chosen to speak out.
See, and she could be like, well, we read the article and we do know that, you know, they acknowledged a couple of things. She could be honest right here. And instead, she's just sort of like prancing around it, not being completely honest, trying to figure out how to match Nancy's energy with her answer. That's what she's doing.
You know, apparently they stand behind him, whether they believe the truth or not, but they've never spoken out for his innocence. They've never gone out there and said, you know, my brother's innocent. He didn't do this. He would.
Kohberger was standing silent. If he's not going to talk, if he's not going to say anything, I'm pretty sure his family was going to do nothing but follow whatever the lead was for the for like the defense attorney. Whatever Ann Taylor said, and if it was stay quiet, we're standing silent, the family did as they were told. That's how I see it. If they were told not to say anything and Kohberger chose not to say anything, all they did was follow suit. I don't see how that's an issue. I understand it, and I would have liked to have heard more from them. But you have to look at the technicals. And he was standing silent, being quiet, not saying a word. They were doing the same.
Never do such a thing, but they come out and, you know, say, you know, we're in this terrible situation. Our family is hurting and whatnot. And I don't doubt that their family is having some sort of confusion, pain. I don't. I'm sure that they are.
It doesn't even compare.
But it does not compare.
Yeah, and they acknowledge that. Mel acknowledges that in the article. While y'all are sitting here pretending like she didn't. Like she's putting herself up here on some sort of high horse and not paying attention to what's going on with y'all at all. Y'all are failing to be honest here. Again.
At all. They could still talk to him. They could write to him. They could go visit him. He's still breathing.
My kids would be, if one of my kids did something like this, they would be dead to our family. We would not be supporting them, that we would not be. I tell all my kids, if you do something that atrocious,
look how he
even like something like that, where you overly go over somebody else as well, you're done. This family, we would never put up with that. And this, we're talking about an individual who's got like $30,000. So you gotta stand up and say the person's wrong and then remove your support. Otherwise, you're condoning what he did.
It doesn't sound like she really thinks that he's guilty. There's a reason why they were still putting money on his books. We heard about that in one of the hearings. There's a reason why they're saying the things that they're saying. There's a reason why the defense is being quiet, in my opinion. There's no reason for Cy Ray to not be talking, for certain people on the defense side to not be talking. There has to be a reason why they're not. No one is still under anything unless there's some sort of sub-level things going on that side that we don't know about. So them coming out and saying anything now, I don't see the problem. And again, she's acknowledging everything that they just said. We know we can still talk to him. We can call him. We can write him. We can go see him. They can't. Mel said that very specifically. And it's amazing to me that they can sit here along with Nancy Grace, knowing that this article is out there, that people can go grab it and they can read it, that people can go on YouTube, find my video, find it. Who even knows how many other videos going over that article, and they can see the truth about what was said in it. And they're still going to sit here and lie and be dishonest, even though they know how easy it is to fact check. That's how confident they are in their bullshit. Sounds like our government, doesn't it?
And you're embracing it and you're rewarding him for that behavior. And that's why society has people like this. And we will continue to have people like this because we haven't just cut the rope and said, you're done, you're dead, you're dead. Even though you're alive, you're dead to us.
It's hard to put ourselves in their shoes because a lot of people think they could put themselves in our shoes and speak on behalf of how they would act, or they wouldn't have done what we did, or they would have done this and that and this and that. And until you're in
yeah, I see people talking about Samantha. Samantha is Steve Goncalves' oldest daughter that he had nothing to do with growing up. And now that she is heartbroken over everything that happened with Kaylee and is vocal about who she is, they act like she doesn't exist. He throws a bunch of Bible scriptures at her instead of trying to actually make amends for being a shitty parent to her entire life. You would think actually losing a daughter would make you kind of like rethink the daughter you threw away, right? And it's not just Samantha. She's got a child as well. So he has like thrown away a child who now has a child. So he's got a child and a granddaughter out there that he just doesn't give two shits about. And Kristy, when they come out here, all they do is talk about the number of kids they have. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Kaylee's in the middle. Kaylee's in the middle. And they completely act like Samantha doesn't exist. And Samantha has to hear that every time these people go out there and they're asked about their kids and all the damn interviews and everything else and who survived by. And Samantha's nowhere. That's when I stopped really giving a shit about Steve Goncalves. That's why this channel will always and forever be victims and victims only, and the truth, not the reputations of the people that are left behind to keep things nice and shiny and lie. We're here for the truth. And if you can be that kind of person, then you can lie about anything, honey. And I don't give a damn about what you've got to say. I lost everything right then and there.
These shoes, it's hard to really say what you're going to do. We think we know what we would do if the tables were reversed. So it is hard to actually know for sure. That's just our opinion of how we feel as a family.
Hey guys. Gonçalves.
So notice how she just said, people want to act like they wouldn't know how they would react, blah, 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 blah. I know I wouldn't have sat my ass in my living room for hours. I know that I wouldn't have gotten a phone call from a relative, an actual relative and not a stranger, telling me that my daughter was dead and then sit my ass in my living room for hours. I know I wouldn't have reacted that way. Especially not with the multiple adults that were there to watch football. And don't forget that Steve also ended up in the emergency room that night with some sort of thing on his face. Normally something that's induced by stress. Now he's got some sort of diagnosis, and it just so happens the one night, the one time in their entire 20 plus year relationship that they've been together that Steve is sick and has to go to urgent care happens to be happening at around the exact same time their daughter's being murdered. And they kept that information from us for a while. I don't even think she was supposed to say that in that interview. And then it slipped out. I don't think she was supposed to tell us that. But it's interesting, isn't it?
Offices, you
Yes.
sitting down, you may need to lay down. Quotes from Melissa Kohberger from the New York Times.
Watch how much she does.
Brace yourself. I've always been a person who has spoken up for what was right. Okay, just right there. Screeching stop.
Screeching stop for what? You don't know shit about this girl. You don't know anything about her character. You know nothing other than the fact that she's a sister of someone who you keep envisioning in their underwear for some reason. So what do you mean screeching halt right there for what? That's crazy.
If I ever had a reason to believe my brother did anything, I would have turned him in. Okay. It's confusing.
They
It's
did
painful.
already.
It's like being victimized, but not really being a victim.
But not really being a victim. She's admitting right there that line goes way before her. She's nowhere near it. But they're going to still somehow turn this around and make her look bad.
Okay. You're not a victim.
Hey, stupid. She just said that. She just said that. You just read it out of your own face. And you just felt the need to say it. She just said that.
You're not a victim, Melissa Kohberger.
This idiot.
The idea is making me
said
so
that.
emotional, I can barely speak to you about it. It's human nature to be curious about darker things. That's how we keep ourselves safe. I think we should try to come together for a true crime culture.
This is where she stops, starts running her mouth, and doesn't finish the sentence. I'm going to let her run her mouth, and then we're going to go back and finish reading the quote.
What? Come together for a true crime culture? Now, wait. We're all so proud of.
Look at that. She doesn't read the rest. She runs her mouth. And yes, Miss Ma'am, you are part of this true crime culture because of what you're doing right now. So maybe try to listen a little bit. Because what does she say? What does she say? For a true crime culture that is way more protective and empathetic to the families of the victims. Yeah, if they're not liars, okay? But you're sitting here trying to make fun of Mel. You're sitting here trying to say that she's acting like she's better than, that you should be like, oh, woe is me. And that's not the case. She's sitting here saying that there needs to be more protection for the families of the victims, while you sit here making her look like shit. Ain't that something? Let's continue.
Try to come together for a true crime culture.
And that's where she stops.
What? Come together for a true crime culture? Now, wait. We're all so proud of him because he had overcome so much. It was the heart.
She hasn't finished that either.
What?
Let's go back
Come
to
together for a true crime culture? Now, wait. We're all so proud of him.
He was still socially awkward and could be abrasive. That's talking about his autistic traits. And she just skips right over that because she knows the kind of conversation it would start.
Because he had overcome so much. It was the heart surrounded by vibrant colors.
And see, she just started into this conversation. She just starts reading that. She doesn't have the heart picture up on the screen. She's not giving any context as to what the shit she's talking about. She just reads this quote. If you didn't watch the sentencing, if you didn't know from reading the article, then you wouldn't know that this is the heart that was on the desk next to Kohberger as he was being sentenced, that she drew for him because she couldn't be there. But she's not going to give you any context. She's not even going to read the whole thing.
That I had drawn for Bryan, even if I could not be there in person. Okay, I stand up for what is right. She actually said that, Kristy. She said that.
Oh my God, she said that. She said that. Yeah, and she's done it. They've called the cops on him before. It's like she's failing to remember all the things that she's already come out and talked about because she used the fact that they had done that as like something against him before. But now that it would benefit the Kohberger family and their side and how they already are acting and have proven to have been able to do things in the past, she's going to just forget that part even happened. You see how two-faced she is?
Yeah. Yeah, I find it
that.
very.
They don't instantly react, so she makes a face to get them to react. Look at this bullshit acting. This is so horrible.
I stand up for what is right. She actually said that, Kristy. She said that.
Look, watch her face.
Yeah. Yeah, I find it
She
very
wants a
hard to
reaction.
believe that she doesn't know the truth, unless in that situation that they are in, they just have a mental block that will not allow them to accept what he did.
She said in her own words,
The state can't even tell us what he did. It's kind of hard to imagine what he did when no one is saying anything about what they think he did. When the state has no working narrative, when the prosecution can't directly connect the suspect to the crime scene or the murder victims, I don't think it's a mental block. There's no anything there. Something has to be there in order for you to be able to block it. And that's what we have a lack of here.
Bryan, you're out at like 1, 2, and 3 in the morning.
Be careful running.
So if you know
Yeah.
your brother's out, he has the same car, you've got a shared family Amazon account, you're seeing he has the weapon. So now he has the weapon, the car, and he's out around that time.
And he lives.
The weapon. No one really knew what the frick the weapon really truly was until like after the PCA. I don't remember hearing that it was a K-bar specifically until after his arrest. I remember that being one of the subjects that Papa Roger would talk about is like a sheath situation or something like that. It was really weird. And I could be wrong about that. They could have came out and said something about a K-bar, but I remember it being like discussed, talked about, rumored, but I don't think that we had anything official. I don't think we had anything official until after the PCA came out. I could be wrong on that, but that's how I feel like it went. But no, you're not calling your brother and telling him to be careful because he's out jogging at 2:00 in the morning. If you think that he's the one out there being all murdery and shit, why would you be calling him to tell him to be careful if you thought that he was out there doing stuff? That's obviously you not thinking that he's out there doing stuff, or else you wouldn't be telling him to be careful. So I don't know how they can see and hear that and then be like, how did you not know? Well, she was worried for him. That kind of tells me that she didn't think anything. The family didn't really think anything, obviously, because what have we not heard? Anything bad that they've said? We haven't heard any of the interviews. Hell, Moscow PD didn't even talk to his family, and that came from them directly. I still just can't get over that one lady saying that his old mama is an accessory. That is crazy stuff.
Close.
Yeah, he's less than 10 miles away. Don't tell me you didn't know or you didn't think that he was a suspect.
Okay, but what about all the criminology people? Even the people that apparently filed all these complaints never called him in as a tip. Even the ones who rode around with him in his vehicle never called him in. Even the professors that he got in actual arguments with never called him in as a tip. WSU didn't even call the car in as a tip on 11/29. But y'all are going to talk shit about his sister who wanted him to be careful because she obviously didn't think he was the one. I don't think these people hear themselves.
Or why didn't you tell him to go
Well,
turn his car in?
according to her, the family knew nothing. Listen.
Kohberger's sister Mel saying her family had no idea her brother was a killer and reached out to warn him to be careful after the murders. Finally speaking out, she wants to talk about growing up with the killer.
No.
She was answering questions that Mike Baker was probably asking her. And look how they try to turn it. It's so gross.
No one wants to hear about growing up with Bryan Kohberger, but
Nobody wants to hear about growing up with Bryan Kohberger. How much do you want to bet that she has read every article, every book, everything that came out where anybody who ever even breathed around Kohberger was interviewed? She can lie to somebody else. We already know what she's digging into behind the scenes.
this does not bode well for her mental health care career if she lived with a psycho killer her whole life and didn't notice anything was wrong. Okay, one.
Well, I guess you can probably say the same for all of the criminology people that are supposed to be out here keeping us safe because they didn't turn him in either.
One thing before the Goncalves leave us tonight, I want to speak to them about what this woman just said, Kohberger's sister. The family had no idea. But let me lay something out for you, and then I will explore it more.
Now watch this timeline. I don't know where these freaking, I don't know where these weirdos got this timeline. They have some janky shit. They have some janky shit on this timeline. There is shit on here that doesn't make any sense at all. That look, just wait.
More in depth with the rest of our panel.
Just wait. Oh my
The
God.
phone records tell a very different story, Mr. and Mrs. Goncalves, and I'm sure you already know this.
Because it's also wrong. This timeline is so cracked out. Watch this shit.
But for those that don't, for the phone records, the murders of 4 beautiful students, including Kaylee Goncalves, occurred between 4:05 and 4:20 a.m. Kohberger
Well, actually, the documents that came out, the last one said 4:07, but okay.
turns his phone off between 2:30 and 4:30 a.m.
Not proven. They have yet to release the analytical reports that say that his phone was turned off. And until they do, I am going to continue to believe that the 7 minutes in Pullman matters and that he went the opposite direction. Because what happens in the opposite direction? You lose service. We not only had people here on YouTube go out that way, lose service, not be able to connect, phone jumping everywhere, but we also had people on mainstream media that went to the location. I remember specifically one guy that was doing stuff on the ground for Vinnie Politan that was in the studio. And he got on the screen with Vinnie and said that he had wanted to do his part of the show out at the whatever you call it park, the Wawa Way, whatever the frick you call it park. I don't remember how the frick you say it, but over at the park area, but there was no service. So we had to drive all the way back into Pullman in order to do the show. That tells me that there's no service out there. That tells me that the shit jumps all over the place. That tells me that this story sounds pretty plausible. So again, they have yet to produce any records, any analytical reports that prove his phone was turned off. It's been words. It's been people saying, oh, yeah, he turned it off at this time. No, show me the proof. And anytime we've asked Celebrite for more information, all they want to give us is a bunch of selfies. No, I don't know when we're going to get the information. I know that I think something about the timing advance records was supposed to drop in this third request. And now we've just really got nothing. But no, there's no actual proof he turned his phone off.
a.m. He turns the phone back on his way from the crime scene back to his apartment in Pullman. 4:40.
There's no proof of that either. And I also want you guys to keep in mind that all of the timestamps for car footage that they have in Pullman that has a car going that direction, they took away. They took away from the evidence that was going to be submitted at trial. All of the timestamps for Pullman were not submitted for the make and model of the vehicle for the self-authenticating records. It started in Indian Hills, already in Moscow, like they want him to just poof over there like he's a damn genie. They took all the timestamps out for the car they're claiming is his leaving Pullman. Because it wasn't his. Because it wasn't his. Gray Hughes even had to admit that. That's where Gray Hughes started asking questions, and it got a lot of people's attention because he was like, oh, well, yeah, no, it is a different car. Yeah, no, that's not his car. And then he tried to double down by still being a smartass and tried to say that it doesn't matter that it's not his car. So what if it's not his car? Well, it proves they were never going to use it because it's not him. And even he said they weren't even going to use this in court. Yeah, dumbass, because it's not Bryan Kohberger's car. He never went towards Moscow. They took everything out that was going to even get him that way. And again, wanted to start it over in Indian Hills like he just magically poofed over there. Like, I don't know how much more corrupt a case could possibly get, bro. I really just don't.
45 to 5 a.m. He immediately starts calling his mother around 6 a.m.
Like normal.
Now he's just turned his phone back on, starts calling his mother over and over and over and over obsessively.
What the hell is this 803 timeline? Like, I didn't even honestly pay attention to the rest of it because once I saw 803 driving to the crime scene, I was like, what in the actual effing F are you talking about? 803, okay, no. What they originally told us is that his phone showed that it left the area of his apartments at like 9 o'clock in the morning. And then by 9:30, it was already back at his apartment. They tried to say that he got from his apartment to 1122 King Road, stayed around in the neighborhood for like 10 minutes, and then got back to his apartment by 9:30. That's the original narrative by that useless ass PCA. Now, when it comes to the self-authenticating records and the timestamps, like what we were just talking about for the WSU footage, when it comes to any 9 o'clock time frame, I don't know what the frick 803 is all about. Why they have driving to the crime scene right there, I don't even understand. That's like an hour away from the timeline that the state has for that. So she's wrong, even for the state, she's freaking wrong. So that's wild as shit. So what they have is a 9:12 a.m. timestamp, and it's a car, just a white car, passing in front of a gas station down South 95. There is no footage of the vehicle back in the King Road area. They can't even prove, they're not definitively even stating. They're just saying a similar vehicle or a vehicle matching the description. Even in the self-authenticating records, they're not putting an actual like on it. They're just not. They're just like, oh, it's a similar vehicle at 9:12 passing that way. Well, how many of those were like that? And you're telling me that you don't have footage from that with that car leaving WSU that captures the license plate? You're telling me that there's nowhere on any of that highway where a license plate was captured? There's no license plates captured ever of any of the white vehicles that they have in here. They can't because none of them are the same. I mean, some of them might be the same, but with over 20,000 of the same vehicles in that area, I can pretty much bet you, especially at the nighttime, some of those vehicles aren't even the same vehicle that they are following. And again, there's no timestamps between the 9 and the 10 o'clock time frame where they're using anything about a white car. And I've shown the 9 to 10 o'clock time frame. There is a white car that actually drives on Walenta right there. And they're not using that because it's not his car. Don't you think that if they actually had him at the crime scene, as many times as they used the camera footage at night to say that it was his car that drove right there past Walenta and kept going around, that they would use a daylight one? They can't because it's not his. They have proven over and over again that they don't have anything to prove anything. They have nothing of any substance. All of it's there. Go to the Case of Interest website, pull everything up. Everything I'm saying is free and public information for those who need to know that. This isn't anything that I learned any other way but reading public documents right here on this channel to everyone, so everyone has all the same information. This is nothing new to people that have been here for a while. But where this 803 came from, where she's saying he's driving to the crime scene and all this other bullshit, that's not even in the state's timeline. She has an entire group of people helping her come up with this shit on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and she's wrong constantly about like everything.
She doesn't pick up. Maybe she's sleeping. Then, in a fit of anger, he calls his father and says, "Why won't she pick?"
And see, okay, she's going to get on my damn nerves. She's actually saying this like the opposite of how it happened. He was calling his dad. His dad wouldn't answer the phone. So then he called his mom to ask where father was, because that's what he calls them. And like, people can say that that's weird. My kids call me mother. It's like a sarcastic way to get my attention. Ariel does it. Slade does it. Dawn does it. They all do it. When they want something from me, hello, mother. Even Ariel now, when she calls me, she'll answer the phone like that. It's just something that they all do. So this is like nothing to me. And the fact that so many people make this like a thing is hilarious, because Ariel even says that to her father. She calls him father. That's just what they do. And I know my kids, again, 19, 17, 7, they all do it. They all do it. But she's saying this the opposite, if I'm remembering correctly. This part don't quote me on. But I could have sworn what it said was the opposite, that he went to call his dad and he didn't answer. So then he called his mom, found out that his dad, asked why his dad wasn't answering, and then he got a call from his dad. That could be wrong, but my brain is telling me that how she's given this is opposite. But I have the Celebrite information. I asked them for the Google Drive that they ended up giving to Plunder, and they sent it to me. But when I asked if they had anything other than selfies, they never responded. So there's that.
Aggressively. She doesn't pick up. Maybe she's sleeping. Then, in a fit of anger, he calls his father and says, "Why won't she pick up the phone?"
Did you hear that? Did you hear that demon come out of her? Let's listen one more time.
Sleeping. Then, in a fit of anger, he calls his father and says, "Why won't she pick up the phone?" Well, she picks up the phone quickly after that. 617 calls mom on a phone call that lasts 36 minutes. 803, he is now driving back to the crime scene to view his handiwork. This is very common amongst criminals. They return to the crime scene, don't know why. Why does a dog make a circle 3 times before it sits down? Don't know, but they do.
Even Celebrite said that this was normal behavior for him. That with all the call logs, all the back and forth with his parents and the long phone calls was normal. He had a relationship with his family. He talked to both his parents quite a bit.
Calls mommy, speaks nearly an hour driving around the crime scene. Did mom tell him to go back and get that knife sheath? Did she advise him to confess or not to speak? This is just...
See why she put that right there? She put this lie of 803 called mother driving to crime scene. She put this lie on the screen so that she had something to support her own bullshit. She created this lie to say his mom's an accessory. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Doubtful.
Driving around the crime scene. Did mom tell him to go back and get that knife sheath? Did she advise him to confess or not to speak? This is just 120 minutes after the murders. And he's on the phone with mommy. 9 a.m., he's back on the phone.
With mommy. I bet you anything, when your kids get older, they're not going to want anything to do with you. I don't have that problem.
What were they talking about?
I don't know, life. The little hike thingy he probably just went on. Stuff they always talked about. Like, it's amazing to me how her and Ashley Banfield do this when it comes to the way that he has a good relationship with his parents. I don't even speak to my mother. My dad, we don't really talk. Like, he comes and visits a lot, but we don't sit there and talk every single day. Like, we might text once a week. And that's saying something because he's in his 70s and he'll text and we just don't have time to sit there on the phone all the time. But he visits all the time. But I don't even talk to my mother. My sister doesn't talk to her either. There's nothing wrong with someone having a good relationship with their parents, especially considering that, yeah, he's a certain age. Oh, he was almost 30 at the time this was going on. And he was like living away from home for the first time. I imagine he probably talked to them like a lot more than normal after he moved, because if he is socially awkward and he actually does have autism and he has like these things that he's dealing with, he probably talked to them quite a bit. I just can't stand the way that they like bash this, what seems to be good relationship between parent and child. Like it's actually really sad.
5 phone calls over 3 hours at the time immediately after the murders to Steve and Kristy Goncalves. You want me to believe she knew nothing? And as the sister is saying to the New York Times, we had no idea.
They didn't.
Really? What were they talking about?
Anything. The insinuations here are crazy. Why was Steve at the emergency room at 3-something in the morning around the time that his daughter was getting murdered with like a thing on his face? Why didn't they go to the crime scene whenever they found out that Kaylee had been shot? Because that's the first thing that they were told, again, by Kristy's niece, not some random person, by her actual niece. Why did they not go to the crime scene? Why did they not go to the cops? Is it because Steve didn't want them to see his face? See, that's a legitimate question to be asking, because Kristy said herself what he went for. And all you have to do is go on Google and see what that shit looks like. And when she says, for the first time in our entire relationship, he had to go to urgent care, and it happens to be on the night their daughter was brutally murdered, that's a bit odd. So I can ask that question and back it up for the reasons why I'm asking it. Why is Nancy saying this kind of crazy shit when she has no idea what was being talked about on that phone? And especially when she's not acknowledging the fact that this is normal behavior. This woman makes me physically ill.
Have you thought about this?
Oh, yeah.
We know more than just that. We know from some of the stuff they pulled from his phone, she sent him links to the story. So
Not that same day, but shortly after.
yeah, shortly after. So yeah. And we know about, they gave the both.
One, like we've heard about one time she sent like one press conference release over to him. And the first time he even like looked up the crimes was on November 16th, the day of the first press conference, by the way. So there's that.
Blown out on the car. And then just within a day or two, they start booking a flight to go get him. And then he wasn't coming back with that car.
See, that's not true either. They have never produced the proof of that. I don't know why that they've said that. The lawyers for Kohberger, and they've said this for like ever now, him going back for Christmas break and that whole like road trip was planned like at the beginning of the year before Kohberger even moved, so that they could, like, they already had a plan knowing that he was going to be out of town, knowing that Christmas break was going to be up. He also left like everything he owned, including a computer that was probably like a good $5,000 just sitting on the desk. He left his TV. He left a shit ton of clothes. Like, he did not leave that apartment like he was never coming back. Never at all. Those pictures prove that. He lived sort of simply and had certain foods in the house. I mean, he was even going in like hella grocery shopping right before he left so that he would like have stuff whenever he got back. It was more than obvious. And this is, again, coming from the same person who's still trying to push that there was some sort of like coverall that was bought at Walmart, a Dickies coverall, when it's not. It's a $12.88 beanie. We've seen the receipt now and the evidence. But they're still pushing that he had on some sort of kill outfit. It's honestly insane. All of the evidence and all the actual proof of things that have come out, and the way that they still will come out here and throw their lies, expecting them to still be caught the same way, not giving a shit that so many people already know better. But hey, if it's working for them and their GoFundMe keeps going up, why stop, right? Oh, all in the name of Kaylee. Yeah. I wonder what she'd be thinking about all this right now. I really wonder. And sometimes I wonder if they made sure that Chronicles of Olivia and Steve Jr. got together so that Olivia wouldn't look into the truth here. I've been wondering that for a while.
That whole trip to Pennsylvania was to get rid of evidence, his car, and help him clean
That's
it.
such a lie.
As soon as he pulled up to the house, Dad jumped out of the car, moved his car out, and put his in the garage.
Yeah, because if his car isn't going to be going anywhere and the family still has to leave every day to go to work and go grocery shopping and go do stuff, why would they leave his car out to where his had to be moved constantly for them to go on and on about their daily business? We had this conversation. When my dad is here, he parks his truck in the front of me so that I can get out and do whatever the frick I need to do, because this is my house. This is my area. This is where I run my errands and I live my life. So that doesn't mean anything to me. That's just weird that they're finding like all these random things that mean nothing to try to say that they mean something nefarious. And that's not true.
So yeah, there's more to that too, but there's only so much we can focus on and so much we can work on, but we're not fools.
Yeah. And I mean, and we do know
You
that
fooled me, Steve.
he was wearing gloves inside the house almost the whole time. Matter of fact, when they went in to arrest him, he was indeed sitting at the kitchen table, wearing gloves, sorting trash. Now, whether he was doing that, why the family.
That's not really true. What we found out through documents and reports that came out was that, well, yes, he was in the kitchen area in basketball shorts and not boxers, the way that Nancy Grace keeps acting like he was in just his boxers with her weird ass self. He was in a hoodie, a black hoodie, and basketball shorts, the same ones from the photo of him with his hands behind his back and he's sitting down, that outfit. And he did have gloves on and he was in the kitchen. We heard that that's what they saw as he was being looked at through a scope through the windows. Okay. Plus they had a drone that was like flying around and doing shit. They said he had some sort of bag. They said he had some gloves on. Then they said that he got up and he walked to the back porch area. And then he stood there for like a minute or so. And then he went back through the house and went out into the garage. Now, then they try to say that the reason why they went into the house after he went into the garage is because they thought that he was trying to destroy evidence. But that's not true, because they didn't even go into the house until after he was already done doing whatever he was doing in the garage. And then he went into his room and turned the light off. That's what the freaking reports claim. Now, honestly, what I think he was doing in the kitchen with gloves and a baggie is rolling him something. I think he was rolling him something to smoke, and he was going to go outside and smoke on the porch, and it was probably too freaking cold in shorts and a damn hoodie. So he went out to the garage to smoke in the garage. That's what I think he was doing. That's what I think he was doing. And I swear there's like evidence of like a green substance in the inventory reports. So that's like 95%, probably 99% what he was doing was rolling up something with gloves on with a little baggie, going outside, didn't want to be out there in the cold, went out to the freaking garage, smoked in the garage. That's probably what happened. So they don't have any proof of the trash thing. They have none of it. They also don't have anything on record or any proof that he was actually like taking trash to other neighbors' trash cans. Now that is pretty normal for areas like that because of bears and stuff. If like a trash can's full, neighbors usually don't care as long as you're not taking up all their space and not letting them have space for their trash. If you have to borrow a space in their trash can a day or two before the trash day, according to the comments, this isn't me like from experience. I never lived around no damn bears. Okay, deer, raccoons, no bears. All right. These are people in the comments that live in those areas saying, no, that's real normal. We all kind of like share space. We try to make sure that like the animals don't get into stuff, that trash isn't left out. Like that's normal. But even that they don't have any proof of. That's just something that somebody was saying while saying that they didn't record shit, while then telling us that they had a drone recording everything. So we don't really know what the frick was going on. But we do know from the reports that they didn't go in and get him in the kitchen while he was still in gloves and blah, 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 whatever. He was in his room. The light had been turned off. Then they went in with their military little tanky thingy that they had, busted up a bunch of shit and went into the house. That's what the report says.
Was all sleeping. I find it hard to believe that they didn't notice that he was going around wearing gloves.
And that whole thing about him going around wearing gloves like all the time, I don't think we read that anywhere either. And again, Moscow PD never spoke to the family. That is on the recorded phone call that I posted that the FOIA chick Amber is telling me they never spoke to the freaking family. Anything that was done with the Kohbergers was done by the feds. And the one interview that MPD even had a part of is Pennsylvania property. So we'll never get it because the FBI said so. That's also in that recorded phone call. So I don't know how they can sit here and pretend like they know like what the family thought, what the family said, we haven't heard anything from the reports. And what the state even said, the family had no intention of getting on the stand and saying anything. They had no intention of getting on the stand and saying literally anything. I think they had like one family member that was supposed to get up on the stand. Most of us just figured it was going to be about like maybe the Amazon family account, because they had filed something, both sides had filed something to not mention the 2014 arrest about the cell phone, which I find interesting that the state would just be okay with that. So it couldn't have been that the sister was going to be asked about. So I can just assume that it was about the family Amazon account, because there's nothing else that could have been said. There's nothing else. There's nothing else. But the state also said, and the defense also said, both of them, that his family had no intentions of getting on the stand and saying anything when it came to anything. So I don't know where they're getting all these assumptions from. It's very wild.
Maybe he was sorting trash only, right? They were asleep and they didn't notice that. But why are you just walking around the house wearing gloves?
We don't know that.
Why are you out there obsessively in
Okay,
your
right
car?
there, Kristy. This morning as my
Why are you out there obsessively in your car all the time? Well, I'll say this as somebody who has never had a substance issue, but has watched people with substance issues behave. They like their cars. Even if he was sober, if he was smoking Mary Jane, that's probably why he was in his car. Most people who do things like that, they go to their vehicles. That's one pattern of behavior that I've noticed. And honestly, no matter what the substance is, it's the vehicle. They're going to the car. That's what I've noticed. I've noticed that with family members. I've noticed that with several people. The car. And again, how is that obsessively going to his car? We've only heard of one time he was in his car, and that was right before they busted into the house. So what do you mean obsessively in his car? I don't even know where she got that from.
daughter was walking out, I went, hold on, you got a white fuzzy attached to your leg. And I went over and got it off, and she walked out the door. I noticed that. They didn't notice he was wearing gloves in the house.
Well, if he's had OCD, like germophobic OCDs for like his entire life, the way that they're saying that he has, maybe him wearing gloves more often than normal isn't abnormal to them. There's that. But we also don't know this. I don't know where they're getting this from. I don't remember ever reading this anywhere. And I could be wrong. And if I am, point me to the document. I'll be more than happy to correct myself. But I don't remember reading that he had gloves on all the time in the house. The only time I heard of was that one time right before they went inside. I don't remember anything else.
They didn't want to notice it, is what it is.
Sorting his garbage.
Those phone calls
that's
to me
all not
are
true.
damning. They're damning. And I wonder if the mother was ever questioned about what the content of those phone calls. Oh,
Nancy, why are you trying to attack this old ass lady? Like, I don't understand, because her son has a good relationship with her and gets on the phone and has conversations with her. You want her to be an accessory to quadruple homicide. That's crazy.
phone calls to me are damning. They're damning. And I
How?
wonder if the mother was ever questioned about what the content of those phone calls.
Mom, I got to go to Walmart. Yeah, I got to go to Costco. I'm looking for a certain coffee. Yeah, no, these pants are a little bit tight. Those pockets are just not doing the right thing. That's a damning conversation. That's a damning conversation. This woman is crazy. This woman is crazy.
Calls over and over and over, going to the crime scene, going around and around and around like a vulture at the crime scene.
And why
What
do
were they
have to
talking
show-
about?
Why do they have to show these pictures? I don't understand it. Why do they have to show all of those selfies from Celebrate? Why? I don't understand what's the point. What do any of those selfies have to do with the crime? The only one that they should even be bothering with is the one that was taken that morning with the thumbs up. That's the only picture they should ever be showing, because it is after the time of the crime, and it's what he is wearing in the videos in Costco and in Albertsons, and it's part of what they're trying to claim he was thumbs up and for. That's the only photo they should ever be actually giving a shit about. The only one. And remember, that's also the photo that we've been like fed a bunch of different versions of. Remember, the States has him like melting into the wall and like faded and like fuzzy. Then we got the one from Dateline, and there's like red spots on his face, and he looks like he needs to shave, and it's like a white, crispy white shirt. And then we got the original from Celebrite, and lo and behold, that shirt in that picture is the same green as the one in the Costco video. How is the state getting away with submitting false information to the courts as evidence? That shit was so heavily edited. How is that allowed? How is Ann Taylor not coming out and being like, Your Honor, that is not the damn photo that came from his phone? Wouldn't that be something that she should be able to file some sort of motion against? She really just did not do a lot. She really just didn't do a lot.
About what she questioned to the Goncalves family. I beg you not to look at the photos any further.
I beg you not to look at the photos. I beg you not to read the documents. I beg you not to ask any more questions. That theme is wild.
I beg you, because it's going to be up here the rest of your life. What is your message tonight, Mr. and Mrs. Goncalves?
It really is just, with society changing the way it is, and so many people having access to it via the internet and being able to get these pictures, they fall in the wrong hands. And it's just...
everybody's a news network, but they don't have the education to be a journalist.
An 18-year-old TikToker.
Okay, for one, having some sort of education in journalism does not make you an expert on crime scene photos. So that was a really just like dumb statement that had nothing to do with anything. There's that. For two, just because you don't want to see the crime scene photos doesn't mean that the other families have a problem with seeing the crime scene photos. And yes, I understand that there were lawsuits and things in order for certain things not to come out. But why is it always just them? Why is it always just them that come out here and show their asses and just get on TV and just exaggerate and not be honest about shit? Why is it always just them? Now, I know that the Chapins have been really trying to keep a lot of stuff secret here. We know that by how they've tried to erase Ethan from several things. We know that by the fact that Ethan and Xana's timeline has been hushed and kept secret and kept confusing and given us oppositional information for the past 3 years. We know that. But you took selfies with JLR. You invited the likes of Bullhorn Betty into your home, sir. To sit here and say a word about anyone on social media doing anything when those are the kinds of characters that you allow into your house. See, I might be asking questions on facts, but Bullhorn Betty gets like court hearings and put in front of a judge for the kind of crazy shit that she does. JLR is the scum of the earth. And you take selfies of him, arm in arm, like big old buddies, even after he talks shit about your daughter. Something that we haven't done. We haven't talked shit about any of the victims. Dylan, not a victim. Bethany, not a victim. Y'all, not victims. The hypocrisy here is disgusting. They have done nothing but get out on the screen and scream for truth, scream for the honesty, scream for the information and the evidence to come out, for all the cards to be laid out on the table. But now that the cards are on the table, he wants us to fold them and just look away. Act like they don't exist. You weird, bro.
getting them out there and just
I wouldn't have done
spreading
the
them.
right thing at 18 either. So
Yeah.
it's just,
Um,
our leaders have to be better than that.
Who is the 18-year-old TikToker they're talking about? You might know. I'm not on TikTok. I post something over there every now and then when I've got the extra time to find a clip and reformat it into that skinny shit and put it over there. I'm never on TikTok. Who is the 18-year-old TikToker? No idea. I don't either. I don't have any clue. Yeah, I don't know. No, unfortunately, she's like in her 30s. The psychic crazy lady, she's in like her 30s, bro. Yeah, she's definitely not 18.
and we are no different than people in the past. I'm not trying to say that we're better but things need to change. It's a time to change this.
You know what?
Things do need to change. Y'all need to start being honest. Y'all need to come out here and quit flip-flopping. You need to come out here and set the record straight about what you really were told by Hunter Johnson, about what you really heard about Dylan Mortensen, about you asking Dylan at the memorial what she saw or what she heard and her lying to you and telling you nothing. You need to come out here and be honest about Bryan really not connecting to the Wi-Fi and where you got that false information, because it wasn't the state. They weren't telling you anything. You were finding this information and then coming out and throwing it out there like it's facts. The messages between Steve and Brat, he's even in there saying, and I'm going to get to part 3 after the Xana and Ethan video and the Coffeehouse crime debunk is out. Then I'll do part 3 of all of those messages. But there's one in there where he's saying that he has 2 white hat technicians that he works with digging up a whole bunch of stuff where they were able to like access BK's old accounts. Well, for one, if you've got like white hat technicians doing work like that on the side, what are you doing? That's for the police to do. You don't know what accounts you're finding that are accurate. You don't know what's real and what's not. That's how he ended up with all this fake bullshit that he ended up giving over to that Garrett Discovery guy that ended up going everywhere because he had other people doing work for him. And then he just believed them and handed it over. He's admitted so much bullshit. So much bullshit. And how 2 grand jury members just come out and speak to the families and we don't hear a word about it. We don't hear subpoenas for them getting in trouble for speaking or nothing. And now it's coming around again because we're going through the messages one more time and we don't, nothing. Nothing. We know it's true because Steve has said it himself on like News Nation before. But nothing happens. How is that?
For the first time ever, Mr. and Mrs. Goncalves, I completely disagree with you. I think right is right and wrong is wrong.
This whole thing
And
right here is weird.
there's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for hurting the victims' families for your own monetary gain.
As you sit here making faces, saying buzzwords, and using descriptions that are not needed in order to try to get an emotional reaction from them to give you higher ratings. Nancy.
For a moment, for another click, for a higher rating.
Just like you. It's funny how she's about to describe this shit. This little like weird, hot, tingly shit that she's talking about. I never felt this shit in my life. So I don't know what she's about to go on about, but it feels like a very personal confession. So let's give Nancy our undivided attention because she's obviously spilling some true feelings here.
For hurting the victims' families for your own monetary gain. For a moment, for another
She wears a
click,
cross.
for a higher rating. It's wrong. As I've told my children, if it feels wrong, it is wrong. There's something wrong when you feel like, is this right? It's not right. When you feel those tingles or you feel hot, when you're saying something or doing something, stop. Because it's wrong. And
Look how she's talking. It's like she's talking to a dog. This is like the weirdest little thing. I don't know what the hell this is. So weird.
is this right? It's not right. When you feel those tingles or you feel hot, When you're
Sounds like menopause. Is that the problem?
saying something or doing
Damn.
something, stop, because it's wrong. And your conscience is telling you that's wrong. So
She's so weird, bro.
I can explain it away with the times they be a changing. That doesn't cut it with me.
And
Hell
that's where I
picks.
stopped it. The times they be a changing. That's where I stopped it. This chick is a whack-a-doodle, bro. Whack-a-doodle. Damn. Oh my god. Oh my god. She's so crazy. She is wild. I cannot believe the bullshit. I cannot believe the bullshit. She is so cray-cray. So crazy. I wish we could bring asylums back for real. We could just 5150 her real quick. Because damn. Oh my god. She's so insane. Okay, let me see what I missed over here. Like, I can't stand her. Oh my god, I can't stand her. But and the cases, when we dig deep into these cases, this isn't entertainment. To dig into the facts, the details, and try to get answers, it's not entertainment. But Nancy Grace is on the Gypsy Rose level for me. I can't. It's the bad acting. It's the fake sympathy, the fake empathy, the fake sadness, the same pattern of, I'm going to keep up bringing up my dead fiance every freaking 20 minutes. No, she's up there with Nancy, with Gypsy Rose now. She just is. But I would never sit here and just watch her, just to watch her. If she's not talking about this case, I don't give two shits what this woman is doing. I can't. Could you imagine? Somebody could make an entire channel and just probably get like millions of subscribers based off of just reacting to every single Nancy Grace episode. And it would probably get really, really big, really, 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 really quick. She is wild, bro. Oh my god. She's crazy. Welcome, Little Miss Redhead. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, Zelly. Oh, were we supposed to? We were supposed to do our freaking members only live on the 26th, you guys. We were supposed to do it yesterday. I completely forgot. Which is crazy because I distinctly remember a few weeks ago looking at the calendar and be like, oh, we still have a few weeks left. Damn. Okay, so then I guess we're just going to, because I want to keep it to Monday, I guess we're just going to have to give it on February 2nd. February will just have 2. I can't believe I forgot that. February will just have 2. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for the 5, Little Miss Redhead. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, Lisa. Good to see you. Welcome, Leslie. Thank you, Mouse. I appreciate that. I do. Thank you for the 2, Leslie. Thank you for the 3. Heads are better. How you doing? Thank you for the $4.99, Whitney. Steve says we would disown anyone in our family that did what BK did while his brother's in prison for murder. This is true. But I don't know if they still talk to him. Like, I know that that's a serious thing. And I know, what's his name? Nathan or Nathaniel, I think is his brother's name. That's a definite thing. And he's mentioned speaking to a brother before. And I kind of wonder if they still speak to the murderer brother. Because he's also talked about talking to people that are in prison, talking to people that are in and out of jail. And I'm like, well, he does have a brother that's in prison. So maybe he's got connections to people. And that's why he's got all these people calling him. Because he said somebody from inside the prison called him. Well, how the frick would you have his number unless somebody inside the prison already had Steve Goncalves' number, a.k.a. his brother? I've just been really curious about that whole thing. I feel like they still have conversations with each other. But I guess it... no... I wonder if we could FOIA his brother's conversations. Because I know, like, they're not letting us have Bryan's, right? But it would be interesting to know if Steve still talks to his murdering brother. And I wonder if we could get those just to see that if they were still having contact or not, because that would be interesting. And see if he was trying to, like, get him to help him do stuff inside the jail. But I just don't know if they're going to give them to us because they wouldn't let us have Bryan's. Like, other people's, other states, their stuff comes out. So that was, like, really annoying. that they won't give us anything. But I wonder if we could get his brothers to verify a few things. Just an intrusive thought, I guess. But something I might look into. Thank you for the 2, which he was. The G-Son is literally marrying true crime culture. Yeah, that's what's so crazy. I really feel like they got her. Somehow they finagled this shit. I don't know how, but I feel like they finagled this shit so that she wouldn't look into them. So that she wouldn't like maybe ask questions too much. Because now she's like part of the family. I don't know. It's very strange. That whole thing. It really is. It's honestly really strange. Thanks for the 5, Taylor. If he called his mom at 6 a.m. from Idaho, the time difference is 2 hours. So his mom is 2 hours ahead of Idaho, Nancy. Yeah, that's true too. That's true too. There is a time difference. I just can't believe how she's acting about it. It's honestly kind of telling. It's more telling about her than like anything else. Thank you for the 199, Crystal. I only feel those due to hot flashes. Yeah, look, I had some like premenopausal stuff for like a few months there, and I was going back and forth a lot. I know I'm like only 38, almost 38, so that might be like a little early, but I sure felt like that for like a few months straight. So I know I've had some pre-hot flashes. I know that shit can be annoying, but I never felt no guilty, red hot, tingly, my conscience is eating me alive shit. Like she must feel that a lot to have that sort of like emotional reaction to it. Because just crazy. Hey, Lady Di. Thanks for keeping us updated on this craziness. 14 months. That's a long time to be here. Welcome back, Layla. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, this was crazy. She's so insane. I know. Like, they seem so specific. She's just so much. Nancy be Nancy-ing. You know, yeah. Nancy be Nancy-ing. So that's what I'm wondering. Like, I don't have a good relationship with my mom. My sister doesn't talk to her. I don't talk to her. Like I said, me and my dad, we text every now and then when we need to, but he visits all the time. I'm sitting here with a horrible relationship with one of my parents saying, how dare you sit here and shit on a healthy relationship? Like, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like she's just like this bitter person. And to just skip right over everything again that Melissa said about how much she knows that what they're feeling is nothing compared to the families and how much she actually, like, she's recognizing their pain and everything that they're going with. And for not only her, but them too, to just glance right over that. They could have done the right thing. They could have been honest about that article. They could have. They chose not to. They chose to follow her energy. They chose to follow her lead. It tells you a lot about who they are, which is everything we've already known about who they are. Like, it's just horrible. Like, it really is. It sucks to watch this because we already have like legitimate questions, but then y'all come out here and you fuel the stupidity. And for what? For what? The lawsuit. Don't look at the photos. Like, people are going to be like, oh my God, if Nancy is telling them not to look at the photos and she's describing them this thing, then we're just not going to look at them either. We're not going to bother. Okay, well, then stay dumb. I don't know what to tell you. There's a reason why they say ignorance is bliss, because you're not stressed out unless you're actually looking at stuff. Unless you're actually looking at facts and asking questions, you're not aware of anything. So yeah, ignorance is bliss, and it's a really dumb way to live. It is a really, really dumb way to live. I could never, ever go back to it just is what it is, and it just is always going to be that way, and there's just no point. I could never go back to that. I was like that for a long time. I could never go back to that. I just don't see how people can live like that. I really don't. I really don't. Thank you for being here for 8 months, Carla. Welcome, Sherry. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, guys. I'm going to get off of here. It's 10:22. I'll make some lavender coffee. Coffee. Oh my gosh, that'd be weird. I'll make some lavender tea. So I went to Whole Foods the other day, and they had my Celestial Seasonings lavender tea, the purple box I showed you guys. If you have a Prime membership, which I've had a Prime membership for like a decade, you could get them for $2.82 a box. I bought off the whole shelf. I have like, I think 6 or 7 boxes. It's gonna be a long time before I run out of my lavender tea. I'll tell you what. But I'm about to go make some and lay down. I can't believe Nancy. She's so insane. I'm really working on that damn coffee house crime video. It is a long one. It's really long. And that's why it's taken so long, because it's really freaking long. It's going to be over 2 hours, I think. It's going to be at least a 2-hour video of debunking his entire video with proof, with videos, with receipts, with documents, with photos. It's going to be about 2 hours. I don't think I've posted a video this long before. We've done lives long, but I don't think I've posted a video that long before. But I'm working on it, and it's more than halfway done. But I'm also doing the Xana and Ethan deep dive into the blood spatter experts report when it comes to how they're describing everything, and with the autopsy information that person put in their report, because I want it to be just as in-depth and detailed and visually aided as the Kaylee and Maddie one. And then we also have the other portions of that to talk about. I just always try to do things as detailed and factual as possible. So it's just taking me a little while. I just want to make sure everything's done right. But it's taking a while because it's so many things. So many things, so many photos, so many videos, so many facts, so many things wrong in that damn video. Holy shit. Actually astounding. Literally actually astounding. Thank you for the 20 G35 Fast Coop. Absolutely love your channel. I've been a member now for 1 year. You're truly the best true crime channel on YouTube, hands down. I appreciate that. I know there's a lot of people that do a lot of other cases and can give you a whole lot of content on a bunch of other cases at the exact same time. I tried that. And they're good at it. They're good at it. There's several that are really good at showing you everything about so many cases. But I've tried, and I am guilty of falling behind in updates on those cases because this one has just got my full attention. It's not like I'm trying to only focus on this case. You guys have adamantly seen me not only have like a second channel where I try to talk about things that are not like this and barely ever able to do anything on it, but also when it comes to other crimes, I'm so far behind. Sebastian Rogers, I'm far behind. Jack and Lily, I'm far behind. Updates with Kylie, I'm far behind. Like, there's all kinds of stuff. But I can't stop thinking about this case. Let me tell y'all something crazy. Thursday. Was it Thursday? No. Yeah. Thursday, the 22nd, we went out of state to go visit Ariel for her birthday, right? And I'm trying to pull up this video so I can show you. We got home really late and I couldn't sleep. So it was like 2 something in the morning. I've really been wanting to go get a massage because I haven't gotten a massage in probably like 1.5 years, 2 years. And my back's real sore. My muscles have always been like really tense. And I was like, let me see if I can just find a place that's open. So I decided to find a place that did like the halo massages where you just like, you lay down on this massage bed and it's like a head spa thing where they like wash your hair all over the place and they have like this thing that goes over your head. Okay. I'm telling you this for a reason. This was a last minute appointment. It was Friday morning at 2 o'clock in the morning where I went online, found a place just by doing a search, found it, booked it, paid a $25 deposit online, went to sleep. Got up the next morning, had it confirmed, didn't know who my person was, had never heard of this place before, had never even been to this side of town. Okay. The one time I try to relax, and I texted my buddy about this. He might be listening to this. Look what was in her room. Oh my God, can you not see it? Oh my God, can you not see it? How do I get y'all to be able to see this? It's the damn good vibe sign. Can I make it lower? The damn good vibes sign with the ivy was in this girl's room. Okay. Then I look down from the sign and look at that damn stool. Let me go back to it. The stool, I'll put this out in like full color because this is the only way they just letting me do it right now. This damn stool right here is the exact same freaking fur as Xana's damn chair in her room. And right above it, right above it is the damn good vibe sign. And I will put this out. It's insane. I had never heard of this person before. It was a last minute decision. I showed up at her office 12 hours after I made that damn appointment at 2:30 in the morning. 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the morning, I made the appointment. My appointment was for 2 p.m. And that damn similar furniture was right underneath that damn good vibe sign that had the same plants on it. And I just sat there the whole time thinking about the damn case for the whole hour. I went in there prepared to like be able to actually like clear my mind and just relax. And I couldn't. The second I walked in, it's in my face. I couldn't. I took it as a sign that I'm here and I'm here for a reason and I need to continue doing what I'm doing. Because the second I tried to relax and not think about it, it's in my face. No, Jules, you can't just sit there and try to blank out for an hour and actually get some relaxation. We're not going to let you. No, I didn't, because I don't want people to know who I am. I don't want people to know who I am. And I already almost got recognized the same day. I went to Walmart and I was behind this older lady and she looked at me and she was like, do I know you from somewhere? Nope. Not the first time that I've already been recognized. I got recognized with less than 10,000 subscribers in the town I moved here from at a Kroger. This time I was at a Walmart. She looked at me kind of funny. She's like, do I know you from somewhere? I'm like, no. And I just kept putting my head down looking on my phone. It's like, I'm told I have somebody that lives around here that kind of looks like me, but their hair color is different. She was like, oh, I guess you just have one of those faces. Yep. I have a twin somewhere. I don't know. Not happening. It's in my face. There's just like no way that the universe randomly in the middle of the night connected me with a lady. And then on top of that, she's using Paul Mitchell like shampoo and conditioner. That scent is something that if you've ever smelt it and been around it, you really just like can't forget it. And so she sits there and she starts shampooing my hair and the smell hits my face. And I'm just like, oh my God, is that Paul Mitchell? Because I haven't smelt it in like 15 years. And she stops still. And she was like, holy crap. Yes, you just freaked me the hell out. And I'm like, oh my God. There was just a lot going on that day. There's a lot going on that day. But walking into that room and seeing that sign and seeing that freaking, the fur, it's the exact same color. I'm going to post it. I'm going to post it as soon as I get off. I won't go to bed until it's posted. I'll put a picture of it in the community tab. It was just too much. It was too much of a sign in my face. I instantly went outside. I texted my buddy and I was like, you won't believe this shit. He's like, holy shit, that is wild. I was like, yeah, tell me. That's my life. That's my signs everywhere. It's just so insane. It really just is crazy. It's just there and it just is what it is. This is where we are. Until something makes sense. Oh, thank you for the $5.99, Lady Crimson. I appreciate that. I don't know what the SEK means. And I'm not going to pretend to know, but I appreciate that very much. I really, really do. Okay. I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to put the little thingy-mabobber up so that you guys can see it. And then I'm going to go make some tea and lay down. Thank you so much for coming in here with me tonight. It is already late. It is 10:30 my time. I know it's really late where some of you guys are. Try to stay warm. Don't go out and do nothing crazy on the ice and the snow. And I will see you guys soon. I'm going to go ahead and roll this out real quick. If I can find it. What is happening to my stuff? Okay, hold on. Please do not forget to leave a like on your way out and subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already. All right, you guys. See y'all.